The playoffs are not disappointing. All I've got to say is Steph Curry. What a performance that was. Sets up what I think is the most anticipated series of the playoffs. We don't have a lot of Bull stuff to get to, but we're going to talk a lot about postseason basketball. And I guess we do have kind of some Bulls things to get to in terms of a what if that's been going around Twitter, and I have my thoughts on. We will get to all of it on today's episode of Believe in Bulls. You're on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag. I'm your host, Nick Schultz, alongside my partner, former Bulls Bench Bob member, and Tennessee Vol C.J. Watson. CJ, there's been some exciting basketball so far early on in the playoffs. Top seeds are down, but man, this is fun. We're getting to the fun part of the postseason.
Yeah, it's been electric. The big time players are stepping up, and just what you want to see as a fan. You love to see great basketball, close games, and just players doing the best they can and putting on for their teams.
And I mean, the fans have been all over it. I mean, I've been glued to my TV watching all this, and we have two really big series coming up here in the semifinals. We're going to preview those and look back on an all-time performance from one Steph Curry after I tell you about our great sponsor, BetOnline.ag. BetOnline is your number one source for all your basketball information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline, as always, your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs: basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right to UFC and boxing. If you bet on the White Sox, my apologies. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting information, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. What are you waiting for? Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. Get that 50% bonus at BetOnline. It's where the game starts. And don't forget, there's an official store of the network, an official t-shirt of our show, Jordan Pippen 98 The Last Dance, available exclusively at shop.believe.com. There's a lot of great stuff there. I've showcased a couple things over there on the show, but the official shirt of our network, or of our show, Jordan Pippen 98 The Last Dance, shop.believe.com. Support all the shows on the network. The links in my Twitter and Instagram bios. All right, I want to start with the Warriors-Lakers series that's coming up by talking about Game 7 of Warriors-Kings. We talked about that series a lot last week. I mean, it lived up to the hype. What a game. Steph, 50 points, a 50-piece in Game 7, most points ever in a Game 7. What a performance at a pivotal moment.
Yeah, for sure. It's just typical Steph Curry, doing Steph Curry things. Like you said, making crazy shots, getting to the basket, finishing, and just, like I said, just making spectacular shots that anyone else can make, but only Steph Curry. So I think it's a great game. I think the youth of Sacramento just showed they got really kind of nervous that third quarter. Started doing things that weren't typical of them from the previous game. So, and the experience of the Warriors just took over.
I was wondering when that was going to happen, about the experience. And if there's one player, well, if there's one of a few players, I guess, but if there's one guy I don't want to go against in a Game 7, it's Steph Curry. Because he can take over, and he can do it in other ways too. He can pass. He's gotten better on defense. He can rebound. Like, he does it all. And that's a guy you do not want to face, especially an inexperienced team like the Kings. I think they'll be back. Sacramento will be back. That's a young team that's shown what it can do. That experience was valuable for them.
Yeah, I think so too. It just got a little taste of what championship mentality a championship team looks like. And like you said, they'll be back. They got the pieces to be back. Mike Brown is a great coach, and he's going to get these guys back. But right now, like you said, the experience of the Warriors just took over a championship mentality. And Steph Curry, like I said, it's only one of them, probably the best shooter that we've ever seen and will ever see, probably. So he just took over the game. Just did what big time players do.
And that was part of the discussion I wanted to get to. I was talking to my dad about this, and I think Steph is the greatest shooter ever. I think he's already cemented that. That performance proved it. The only one I think that could maybe make a run at it would be Larry Bird. I'd say he'd be the closest I could get, but I think Steph's cemented himself as the greatest shooter ever.
Yeah, for sure. Just the way he makes shots, and the distance that he shoots them from, the difficulty. And obviously he's only like 6'2", 6'3". Larry is probably like 6'6" or whatever. So that just makes it even more harder and difficult to make the shots that he's making and doing it at the high clip that he's doing. And I would say Klay Thompson will be up there too, or Reggie's. But, like I said, but there's no one close to Steph that we've ever seen and probably will ever see again.
Yeah, I mean, Larry was before my time. Obviously, he was born in 98. Like he was before my time. But you look at the highlights, the pure shot from Larry Bird. You give it to him, it's going in. Like from three, he can do the mid range. With Steph, it's different because you give it to him from, about half court. he'll shoot
Yeah.
it, it goes in. The range that he does it. It'd be one thing if he did that like once in a while.
Right.
One time he makes a half court shot, whatever. He does it all the time. The amount of
Yeah.
times during that game 7 where he took shots from way the hell downtown, it
Yeah.
was insane. And they kept going in. Like that to
Yeah.
me puts him over the edge.
Yeah, just like you said, just the difficulty of the shots that he takes and making them. I think the thing I love about Larry that he talked trash too when he
Yeah.
played. He was the president when I was with the Pacers, so he used to come down and all the time and talk trash to us and tell us that he could outshoot us and stuff like that. So that's just good memories to have a great player like that. To be your boss and to have someone that critiques you and actually signs you to a team and has faith in you and wants you to be successful.
Did you ever engage in a shooting competition with him?
No, he was a lot older. He had back issues, back
Oh,
problems,
okay.
but that never stopped his trash talking.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, the way you look at him and Michael Jordan go back and forth in the Last Dance, they're
yeah.
great friends, but they're going to talk their trash.
Oh
Like
yeah, that's
the
what
exact
competitors
quote,
do. Yeah,
yeah, the exact quote I won't repeat on the show is, "There's 3 words. It was you something 4 words. You something blank you." I'm just going to
yeah,
leave it
yeah.
at that.
Right.
People know what he said in the Last Dance. Like Larry Bird is one of my favorite players of all time. And if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't know, I mean, I covered the Missouri Valley for 5 years. Indiana State's in the Missouri Valley. Every freaking Indiana State game. I'm national, local. Did you know Larry Bird went to Indiana State? If you didn't,
yeah,
just watch every damn Indiana State basketball game. I'm not,
yeah.
it's an ongoing joke on Twitter is when it's mentioned, like, oh my gosh, Larry Bird went to Indiana State.
Right. Yeah,
It's hilarious. And so with that aspect too, is one of my favorites. But
yeah, yeah,
watching Steph, yeah, he's got the 3-pointer record. I understand that. He's probably already cemented himself as the best shooter ever before game 7. But to do it when it matters like that,
yeah,
to take those kind of shots and lead your team to that resounding of a victory. And by the way, the Warriors sucked on the road this year.
yeah.
So to do that on the road in that environment, it's no discussion at this point. The closest would be Larry.
Yeah, I think so, and for sure, I know they had a lot of motivation on going to the building with their home record or with their away record being so terrible this year. They had a lot to play for and to prove, and I'm sure they didn't want to lose to a former coach, Mike Brown. They probably wanted to lose anyone else but to him. But like I said, he showed up when it really mattered. His whole team showed up. Clay showed up in the second half, making some shots. Draymond did what Draymond does, and Kevin Looney does great things. He doesn't get enough credit for all the rebounds and the dirty work that he does.
Rebounding machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you got him left standing. You've got Mitchell Robinson left standing. You got some great rebounders
Yeah.
still in the playoffs. But we'll get to that Knicks series in a second because you got Warriors Lakers now.
Yep.
I said this before we started recording. Every NBA executive, every TV executive was celebrating when the Warriors won that game because now you get Steph versus LeBron.
Yeah.
It's huge from that standpoint. You got 2 of the best players in the game, maybe the 2 best players in the game, depending on who you ask. But I want to look at this from the bigger picture. How big is this series for both of their legacies because of their stature right now?
I think it's enormous for both of them, but I think more so LeBron because he's at the tail end of his career, maybe 1 or 2 more years left. I think Steph probably has maybe like a good 4 or 5 left if he wants to play that long, but it's very important for LeBron to just get out of this series and get to the conference finals, and maybe we'll get a KD LeBron matchup that we've always wanted but never seen. So like I said, I think the Warriors win. I think they're still the champs, and then they'll be the champs until someone beats them. But I think they win 4-2 in Game 6.
Okay, you've got it in 6 games. I told you,
Yeah.
I could see 5 games. I could see 7 games. I don't know how this is going to go because with the
Yeah.
Lakers, and I agree with you, by the way, LeBron has more at stake, just where he's at in his career and everything.
Yeah.
Like this could be a legacy defining series
Yeah.
for LeBron James in terms of, okay, at your age, how long you played the game, with all the Lakers have been through this year, if they can pull off this series,
Yeah.
it's huge for his
Yeah.
legacy.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Like I said, I think they can do it. I don't know if they can withstand the shooting ability from the Warriors. Like I said, they got to shoot better from the 3, which they don't really do that well. But they are kind of they're bigger than the Warriors down low, so I think that gives them an advantage in the front court. But like I said, just the shooting ability of Clay and Jordan Poole and Steph just separates them from any other team.
I mean, we're used to talking about teams that can't shoot the 3.
Right, yeah.
What's the name of the show called again?
Right, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we're used to that. But I think the Lakers, the roster situation, they made great improvements at the deadline. That's why they're where they are. I mean, Rob Pelinka did a masterclass putting this roster together with Vanderbilt and D'Lo and Hachimura. Like, I'm probably missing somebody in there too because it felt like they just added everybody. But I mean, Austin Reeves is still doing good things as well.
D'Angelo Russell.
yeah, like yeah, I mean, is this roster capable of going up against the Warriors and beating them in a best of 7 series?
I think they if this roster is definitely capable. Like I said, they just got to come and play every night. They can't have some nights and they're playing good, and some nights they take off because that just gives the champs, even more confidence and motivation to get them out of there. So, like I said, they got to bring it every single night. And I know LeBron's preaching that in the locker room and standing those guys' ear, telling them how important every game is. Can't take any games off and can't let one slip away.
No, you definitely can't let one slip away. I mean, this both of these teams are playing at a really high level, and the Warriors, like you said it best, they're the champs until someone knocks them off the pedestal. Like I'm not going
Yeah,
to count out this team ever as
yeah,
long as Steph and Clay are fully healthy. And
yeah,
I mean, yes, I know Draymond's a big part of that too, but as long as Steph and Clay are
yeah.
healthy, I'm not going to count them out ever. And I mean, the Lakers had their scare against the Grizzlies. This is what happens when you poke the bear, I guess.
Right.
You
Yeah.
saw what
Yeah.
happened when you poke the bear.
You
I
talk
mean,
trash, you got to back it up.
don't don't dip out on the media like that, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
calling out Dylan Brooks. We talked about it last week. Don't skip out on your media. No, you poke the bear. You got to face the music when the bear comes back and well, I guess bear comes back and gets you in a way. I'm trying to
Yeah.
clean it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, he just got he has to face his fears. He called him out. LeBron and the Lakers responded. More so the Lakers as a team than LeBron individually, but LeBron did what he was supposed to do in the crunch minutes and made big plays, big and one plays. So he took the competition and did what he does usually. It kind of succeeds.
And 40-point victory in game 6 to win the series. It doesn't get more resounding than that. And I mean, I don't think you're going to see that level of trash talk in this Lakers Warriors. Now, of course, Draymond Green is in this series. I know that can
Right.
be what's he going to say? I'll be tuned into the podcast. I know all that. Like, but I don't think it's going to be the extent of Dylan Brooks saying, well, LeBron's old and I'll put
Right.
up 40 on him. Well, the Lakers beat you by 40. So you got
Right.
your 40. I mean,
Right.
so I don't know if you're going to see any games like that. This seems very evenly matched, this Lakers Warriors series. And this is the one I'm be glued to the most just to see. We know what LeBron and AD can do when AD's not, hurt, but it's the rest of the guys
Yeah.
that I'm watching. And I mean, D'Lo especially, he had
Yeah.
31 points in that blowout win. He's got to keep playing at that high level. No, none of these duds, no 9-point games, no, I mean, get about, I'd say 15 to 20 to get you where you need if LeBron and AD are healthy and playing
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. D'Lo is a X factor for me for the Lakers team. D'Lo and Vanderbilt, the way Vanderbilt plays defense, D'Lo making shots, being aggressive on the offensive end, and also if Beasley can get in there and make some open threes and or tough threes, that'll help the Lakers. And for the Warriors, I would say X factor for me is Jordan Poole. He has to come in and play better, take better shots, not force anything, just kind of just let the game come to him and play off Steph and Clay.
Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing for him is don't force. I mean, I know he's young,
Yeah,
it's going to happen. Don't
yeah,
force shots. Let the game come to you and don't try to do too much
yeah,
is the
yeah,
name of the game when you've got those playmakers like that. Let's shift gears here and talk about the Heat and the Knicks. Start with the Heat. All I got to say is wow.
yeah.
Jimmy G buckets, the G stands for gets. I
Mhm.
miss him so much. I mean, watching him succeed, it's a double-edged sword because yeah, the trade was the trade when the Bulls let him go. But damn, I miss that guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's just Jimmy just plays with hard, man, and this his whole story. This can go from the upbringing that he had, and then also not getting any scholarships for college, and then getting drafted by the Bulls. I was a teammate of his, and seeing his work ethic, and seeing the things that he's done from not playing to being a starter, and now being an all-star and one of the best players in the league. Just he has that whole team playing as hard as he is, and they're all playing together and playing smart.
Now, when did you play with Jimmy? It would have been early on for him, right?
For his first 2 years, yeah, he never played.
Right.
He
So
had
let's
guys, Luol Deng in front of him, Kyle Korver, Ronnie Brewer, so it was kind of tough for him to get on the court.
bring back a lot of childhood memories with those names. I mean, Kyle Korver, we'd be in the backyard shooting baskets. We'd go way the hell away from the basket. We'd shoot like, oh, hey,
Right,
Kyle Korver.
right, yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot of memories there in those
yeah,
names
yeah.
and
That's
a lot of
the real
2K.
bench mob.
Exactly. There were a lot of 2K played
Yep.
with those guys, including some guy named C.J. Watson was on those
Yeah,
2K
yeah.
teams too. Like
Nobody remembers him.
you'd be surprised. But no, like Jimmy, I want to look at that. Like you played with him early on when you said he didn't play.
Yeah.
Now looking at him now, are you surprised by what he's doing based on what you saw early on?
No, not at all. Like I said, I seen his work ethic. I seen him after practice when we would get done practicing. He would be running suicides and getting workouts in the full sweat because he didn't really practice either. So I'm not surprised by it at all. Like I said, it just shows his work and his dedication, and also by the guys that were playing in front of him. All those guys were great guys, great veterans. Luol Deng, Kyle Corbin, Ronnie Brewer. So he followed those guys and hung out with them, and just like I said, just to all their work ethic.
And it's paying off in a big way. That performance he had in the first round against Milwaukee. How many points did he end up with in that game? It was. Did he get to 60? I don't think he got to 60. Did he?
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
might have been was it 59? I was in the city
55
watching
55 or something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, let me look. It was 56. 56
yeah.
points Monday night. Watching that game from the hotel room was interesting because I'm trying not to be too loud because there were people next door to me, and I was trying not to have a repeat of what happened when we were talking and Aaron Rodgers got traded, which that was really fun. I'm really glad the camera wasn't rolling for my reaction to that. But I'm like trying to watch that game and try to be quiet. The whole time I'm sitting there going, I miss Jimmy Butler, and that was a Stacey Kingism. Jimmy G buckets. The G stands for gets. One time I actually called him Jimmy G in our newsroom at On 3, and they thought I was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm like, oh no, Jimmy G buckets.
Right.
we abbreviated as Jimmy G. But those were the good days before the trade. And I want to talk about this. I did this. I went back and looked because I felt like couldn't remember. And I did this in September of 21. I went back after Lauri Markkanen was gone. That era ended. I revisited the Jimmy Butler trade to see what kind of happened. Let's look at it again, because there's a reason for this. I want to revisit. The Bulls traded Jimmy Butler in the number 16 overall pick, which later became Justin Patton, who didn't do much of anything, to Minnesota. In return, they got Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, and the number 7 overall pick, which became Lauri Markkanen. The only one left on the Bulls is Zach, and I think Chris Dunn has bounced around the league a little bit. Lauri just won Most Improved Player. That went over well. Right. And, Jimmy's on his third team since. But looking at the trade packages, how they've come a long way in the last 6 years or so. Hindsight's 2020. Did anybody win that trade?
Maybe Jimmy. I don't know.
I mean, Jimmy did. I think Jimmy's the biggest winner of that.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I would say like sometimes you just got to part with players or your superstar players and just kind of let them go on and do bigger and better things because like there's a lot of controversy there maybe. But like I said, he was the type of player you want to keep and you always want to keep on your team because he brings that fire and that passion every single game, and he's going to bring it out of himself and the other teammates and also the coaches and the whole franchise. So I think, like I said, I don't really foresee you trading a player like that of his caliber unless it's really something bad, negative, which I've never heard anything negative, bad about Jimmy. But like I said, just sometimes you just got to split ways just for the best of both parties. I
think the only like quote unquote negative thing about Jimmy is that he pushes guys, and sometimes guys don't respond to that, so they take it wrong. Like, no, he's gonna push you, and he's gonna. We talked about it all year. He'll say it in the locker room, and he'll say it to the media too. Like he's just gonna he's open. Like he'll tell you what he thinks. He doesn't hold back. And the reason I do this, we talk about what the Bulls need this offseason. They need a guy who's gonna come in, command the room, back it up on the court, take over games that they need, and he's doing that for Miami. Now, like I said, this is his third team since that trade. It didn't go well in Minnesota. The Philadelphia experiment is what it was. The Sixers chose Ben Simmons over him. And now here he is in Miami. Like, it's tough watching this because what could have been. I remember when that trade went down, and I'm really glad the Loyola Phoenix website kind of crashed and all my old columns are gone, unless you know the back way to get in like I do. No one can find my column where I defended this trade. I thought the Bulls were going to come out fine. Like I thought Chris Dunn was going to do better than he did. Well, I called that putt too early. Right. Lauri just didn't pan out. There was a lot of factors in that, with Boylan and then Billy Donovan. Yes, I said his name. I'm over the bit. Like, Billy Donovan coming in. It just didn't pan out. And in Utah, he won MIP, but did they make the playoffs? No, they didn't. I think, and Zach LaVine the jury's still out on that. So my point is the biggest winner, like you said, is Jimmy, just because it gave him a chance to get a fresh start. Then he got another fresh start. And now he's in Miami as the guy.
Right.
With the Bulls, with where Gar Forman and John Paxson as the front office, it didn't work. That dynamic, it did not. That we talk about Jimmy as a very special kind of player in terms of you have to get Jimmy.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a connection there. I think there was some kind of disconnect that led to the full-on rebuild. I hope that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Eric Spoelstra is kind of more of a Jimmy guy. He's fiery.
Yes.
Also, he's passionate. And that front office is also fiery and passionate. So like I said, maybe the personalities with Jimmy and Gar and John didn't match, but like I said, it's matching now and it's working. I'm going to be looking to see how his ankle heals up for game 2. I don't know if it's going to be the same Jimmy we've been seeing, but it'd be interesting to see how they rebound from this from the first game.
Now, let me be clear. The Butler trade happened after the 3 Alphas season, which was Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, and Rajon Rondo. And don't forget, Robin Lopez was in that locker room as well. That was
personalities.
There was a lot of personalities. And your coach was Fred Hoiberg. And don't get me wrong, Fred's a great college coach. There's a reason he has the reputation he does in Ames, Iowa. He's had some big transfer portal additions, some big recruits coming in at Nebraska. I think he's on the right track there. That's a lot of personalities for a guy to manage in his first NBA coaching job. I personally don't think they set Fred up to succeed very well.
Right.
So that kind of led to the rebuild, and Fred got kicked to the curb, and the Boylan experiment, the epicest of, I'm making up words at this point, the most epic of epic fails. Like, that was just all around bad. You were the laughing stock of the league. I don't think Jimmy would have wanted to be there for that.
I don't think so.
Based on what we're seeing now.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, it was just maybe just to get him a head coaching job to see if he can really do it. And obviously, his number one fan is you, and I don't think you liked him that much, and so I don't think he's going to be getting more head coaching jobs anytime soon.
No comment. I mean, I sat in on one of those press conferences during my internship. And I got to be careful, because you got to be impartial. You got to be professional. You got to be nice. I'm sitting there going, at what point do I walk out of the room? It failed so bad. And if Jimmy would have been there, I mean, Jim went back and forth with Zach. It was Zach LaVine going back and forth with Jim Boylan. Imagine if Jimmy Butler was in that locker room.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what would have happened.
Everyday struggle.
And it was an everyday struggle to begin with, because you kept hearing about the punch clock to come in, and the long practices after back-to-backs. And he came in firing. And, if Jimmy was in that locker room, I think you would have heard a lot more about this alleged mutiny that came out. And that was well reported, that the players just did not respond.
Right.
Boylan right away. If Jimmy was in there, no, it's probably a good thing that he got out of Chicago when he did, because we wouldn't be talking about him the way we are right now.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, it would be a lot of bad stuff probably written in the paper about him. Like you said, that's what happens when you have, first-time coaches come in and also a rebuilding year in franchises, and superstar players not getting along and not necessarily getting their way, but just not agreeing with the head coach. So that's always a difficult task.
I'm so glad that era is behind us. Even as rough as this year was, as up and down as it was way better than what it was 3 years ago. I mean, it was just frustrating watching those teams. And I mean, when I did my internship, we had the Bulls Outsiders on, and they were fans doing their post game show, and even they were just tired and fed up. And now Jimmy's in a good situation with, I've been saying that Eric Spoelstra is arguably the best coach in the league. I think it is now settled after the performance against the Bucks. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. Am I wrong?
I would say he's up there. I like Mike Brown too. I like
Mike Brown.
I think those 3 are probably the top ones so far. But right now, Eric Spoelstra is definitely doing what he's supposed to do. Junking up the game for Miami, because they don't really have, I don't think, a lot of talent, but they just play harder than everyone, and they, like I said, they just junk up the game. They don't let you play one-on-one. They crowd the lane, and they do what they're supposed to do defensively and offensively. They just make shots when they're supposed to.
And they lost Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
They lost Tyler Hero. They were a bad 3-point shooting team to begin with. Somehow they're making all these threes. So I think that's a credit to coaching, and it goes beyond Spoelstra. I mean, he's got a good staff too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it can make a case for Mike Brown with how the Kings did this year. T. Lue, you got to see what he can do when he has the star players healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, I know there's been stuff going around about what's going on with Kawhi. I saw JJ Redick on First Take, and I thought he had points. I don't want to blame Kawhi. They got to stay healthy, and I want to see what he can do with a fully healthy roster. Yeah. And you can always go back to the 3-1 lead with Cleveland. Yep. That was him. So you can use that as an example too, what he's done in the past. But I just think right now, I think Eric Spoelstra is now 5th all time in playoff wins. Mm-hmm. And you said it, this roster, with how they did in the regular season, they should not be where they are. And they've got to win over the Knicks in the series. I think that's a testament to the coaching and the system that they have there, the organizational system they have in Miami.
Yeah, for sure. They're hardworking people. Like I said, Eric Spoelstra has a great story. Just the way he came up and now getting his shot and making the most of it, and just getting the most out of his players, I think, is what every player wants. He demands respect. He gets respect. He talks with his players. You can see him communicating with his players, and not just me. He takes advice from his players, and I think that I love that as a former player, seeing that, and I'm sure the players do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of accountability there, and it goes both ways. Like he holds
Yeah,
players accountable, but he also takes if something goes wrong, he's the first rule of
yeah,
leadership is it's your fault. And I love
yeah,
the way he carries himself and those teams. And he could easily, after the big three with LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh, he could have very well been like, okay, this is going to go under. I don't have my star players anymore. He has kept the Heat relevant as
yeah,
head
for
coach, and
sure.
there's no sign of slowing down either with the way things are going. They've got a win over the Knicks, who I one of the most intriguing teams in the playoffs, still standing. And yes, I've heard Stephen A on First Take. I actually it is must see material when the Knicks are winning playoff games to see Stephen
Yeah,
A on ESPN. Like
yeah, for sure.
he can back it up too with how he covered the NBA for so long. Like I don't mind the fact that he showcases his fandom. I really
Yeah,
enjoy it because I get
yeah,
that way about another Chicago team that had an okay draft. And I'll be that way when the Bulls finally get to the top of the mountain too. But the big question the Knicks have to answer is Julius Randle. Doesn't seem healthy. He missed game one. That's going to be something to watch as the Heat go on. Now that Heat are up 1-0, and that game two is coming up. Is that tonight, Monday night that they play, or are they playing tomorrow, Tuesday? They play Tuesday, so after this drops. So the Heat are up 1-0. Game two is Tuesday night. Very curious to see how the Knicks respond with Randall
yeah,
in and out of the lineup.
yeah. Me too. I think, like I said, even more. I think it's how is Jimmy's ankle going to respond? Is he going to be a
Yeah.
liability out there? Is he going to be hobbling? Is he going to be able to push through it? For me, I think the Knicks win game two, like I said, and then maybe Jimmy doesn't even play, just sits it out and just rest up and try to see if he can win without him. Just wait till you get back to Miami and try to go game three.
No, I think Jimmy's gonna play. I think if he can. I mean, I think
Yeah,
his foot's got to be falling off for him to miss this game.
yeah,
Like,
me too.
I mean,
But I would, as a coach, I would be like, hey, just rest and just save it for game three.
right. But as a coach, you'd be saying that. And I agree with you.
Yeah,
But thinking Jimmy Butler here, is he gonna
yeah,
actually do that, or is he gonna say,
probably
"F
not.
that, I'm gonna go play"?
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
he's probably playing.
yeah. Like I know he said like playoff Jimmy's not a thing. It's a
Yeah,
thing. Playoff
yeah, yeah,
Jimmy's a different animal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I miss him so much. I can't get over it. But again, that trade I defended at the time. Well, it is what it is. I think no matter what, he'd have been gone. But I think he
Yeah.
came out on the right end of it. And a couple other series going on. You got Nuggets Suns. Nuggets dominated game one. Sixers Celtics is interesting because Joel Embiid's got that knee that
Yep.
he it might keep him out. He might try to play. It seems like reports have been kind of back and forth on what he's going to do, just because that injury should keep him out a couple of weeks, and yet he's still on the court. So
Yeah. It's
we'll
gonna be
see how
tough.
that all goes. But this is going to be exciting. These next rounds with the semifinals, getting to the conference finals. We had no Bulls news to talk about. We're just going to talk about playoff basketball and how we're wishing we were talking about the team that we cover
Right.
being in the
Yeah,
playoffs. But until then, I'll live vicariously through Jimmy Butler. I don't care.
yeah.
That would
He
not
was
be
he
the
was
first
once a
time.
Bull, so it kind of correlates.
Exactly. It's the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
Like we can make this work. Like it's we're here recapping all playoff action. Again, if you missed it, we're once a week now in the off season. There again, the fact that we had no Bulls news to talk about after a week tells you why we're once a week now. But this we're still gonna be talking NBA, and I don't know, we might bring some guests on or something if it gets too boring. But so far the excitement of the playoffs has been outstanding, and I'm very excited to see how this week goes when we meet back up here on Monday, because so far it's been living up to the billing.
Yeah, it's been living up to it's been electric. It's been everything that we can hope for as a fan to watch, playoff basketball. So I'm definitely interested to see the second round, how it starts and continues.
It's also nice for me now that I'm not covering the NFL draft. I covered it for On Three. I covered pick number 1 through pick 259 and
Yeesh.
an hour worth of undrafted free agents. So I did not get to watch a lot of the playoff action Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I was following through Twitter because I had Twitter up the whole time. But watching that, being able to sit down and watch these games is going to be nice, and
Yeah,
not have to worry about, oh, hey, who's trading up for who. That's over
right,
now. I can actually relax when looking at my computer. It's going to be
right.
nice. That was a crazy weekend, but another crazy week ahead here. Playoff action coming at you. We'll be back here next week talking about it. That's a wrap for this week's episode of Believe in Bulls here on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag. Use that promo code BLEAV, 50% welcome bonus. It's a good time for that. You've got the playoffs, you got baseball, NBA draft lotteries coming up soon. I'm sure there's stuff you can do with that. And buy our shirt, Jordan Pippen 98 The Last Dance, shop.believe.com. CJ, another fun show, even though we got to relive the dark years that was the Jim Boylan era. We'll see what we have in store next week. Lakers Warriors is going to be the talking point. for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, me too. I can't. LeBron versus Steph. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. Like the last time this happened was when the J.R. Smith meme came
Right.
around. Like if we get another one of those, that's going to be something. But we'll see everybody back here next week. Enjoy the playoff basketball. See everybody next week.
Yep.